So, man, what you think about this 450 grand from these immigrant families coming over and getting 450K for being separated? What's your thoughts? Let's be real.
Do they deserve it? 100%. Does it make sense to do when we have other people in the country who are down worse, if not as bad as the immigrants? Hell no. Hell no.
If you separated from your family for years, I get it.
Yeah, you deserve it.
I get it.
You definitely deserve it.
450,000.
450 per person.
We don't even make 450 between us three.
Per person, man.
How much would they have made if that was working?
Exactly. Again, I don't understand the math with it.
I thought they came over here for like citizenship rather than.
That's what I say. Hey, give them amnesty. Go ahead and wipe everything clean. I'm not saying give them nothing.
Who awarded them 450,000?
Well, that's what the talk is, and it hasn't been confirmed or denied. When Joe Biden was asked about it, he just kind of scratched his head. His
head was itchy.
He may or may not know. His head was he scratching? He may or may not know of it, but man, that's excessive, man. You got veterans that are homeless here. You got folks that are dealing with, not being able to pay for their rents. It's other stuff here that we're dealing with rather than giving out 450K.
That doesn't make sense
to folks.
Talking about giving out money, I know it's going off this whole subject. Texas Relief Program to help people with COVID is one of the most ridiculous systems of it. They're sending the money to the tenants.
That's not a great.
We are going to do. I am so disappointed in the Texas Relief Program. They're claiming money to pay the landlords, and the landlords are getting screwed, to be perfectly honest. The money's being sent to the tenants, and the tenants are not giving it to the landlords.
That's ridiculous.
And I just can't believe, and this is the big thing between the UK and the US, but when you get this help over here, it's like they don't have the administrative systems. I don't know what the problem is to sort of administer it, monitor it, and make sure it goes to the right department.
Well,
it's just utterly ridiculous. I was so disappointed with Texas rent relief in the week. We've got a landlord that's waited 13 months for his money, and he hasn't got his money. And the tenant had a check for $16,900, and they brought a check in for $7,800.
So why did the landlord wait a year and some change to do something?
Because when you do enroll into that program, the landlord's got to write off, promise not to evict.
So the landlord applied.
No, the tenant applied, and then we register as the landlord, because we have to supply all the documents. So when you register for that program at Texas Rent Relief, what actually happens is we have to promise not to evict the tenant. We have to promise not to charge them late fees, not to charge them initial late fees, and it's just the base rent.
But does it take a year to make all of that happen?
We had one tenant who registered for the program and got paid in 6 to 8 weeks. We had another tenant that registered with a number of organizations, and then ended up not paying us.
I don't know this guy, I don't know this landlord, but I feel like something could have been done better if you had to wait 13 months.
Well, when you sign a bit of paper to say that we're not going to evict you, the judge is just going to throw that out.
Oh, you got to do that up front.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, you take that to a judge, and then what's the judge going to say? Well, hold on, you sign this bit of paper. That's what the tenant's
in that instance, that sounds like a gamble to me. I'll let you live in my property, and I promise not to evict you. You might get some money from this company. You might not,
right?
But I'm letting you know I'm applying. So that's a gamble.
And the problem was with all of this, there was overlap with the different organizations. Another one was the Catholic Charities Association. There was an overlap. So
I think that the problem begins with the organization itself when it becomes we're going to give this relief. Because depending on how they're structured,
I'll tell you the problem.
They may be giving money away, but that's the whole goal. You got to give this money away because it's earmarked for that, right? That's the benefit. I got to write this off. So once I give it away and it starts to go, how it's handled on the other side is not my business.
And then we've got another tenant, okay, who was up front, told Texas Rent Relief, we don't want the money, you give it to the landlord or with the property management company. And the check was made up front to us from that tenant. But what I'm saying is there's an area out there for manipulation.
Of course.
On behalf of the organization, though.
And
not
also,
on the
and
consumer.
also what
Right.
you've got is you've got 3 organizations that are overlapping one another. You've got the emergency Harris County assistance. You've got Catholic Charities, and then you've got Texas Rent Relief. And they're all supposed to communicate with one another.
Yeah, right.
But that ain't happening.
Yeah, by USPS mail only.
And what I want to know is, who is ultimately responsible? And we was told by one of the organisations, because I said to them, this is fraud. And they said, well, in that case, you've got to go out there and evict them. So I guess what we started.
Eviction.
But I thought you couldn't because they signed the...
We ain't been paid, and they got the money. So I want to see what the judge says when I'm standing there and saying, well, here's the documentation that they was paid and they cashed the check.
Because it's kind of a breach now.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it's a breach of contract.
Yeah.
But to go back to the topic at hand, $450K, you definitely deserve that money. I deserve $450K for some of the stuff I've been through too, trust me.
Right.
But it's just not going to happen. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't see that
Do
happening.
you think
This is much like that.
Do you think they should deserve any remuneration?
Oh yeah. No, they definitely deserve something.
If you were forcefully separated, I think give them something.
Yeah, give them citizenship and put them back together. I think the problem with the whole separated thing was they didn't know where the kids were.
That's like the big argument.
That's the big problem. I mean, why should a
But also,
4-year-old
you also
or a
know that
6-year-old
they were told to do that as a fear.
as a fifth.
Yeah, because they were
I
like,
agree.
we if you come over here, you will be separated from your kid. Like, so that's why they did it. It wasn't like the actual processing timeline was.
Right.
You have to go here. You have to go here. You'll link back up, but like you're going to be separated for the time
got
being.
you.
I mean,
Gotcha.
I'm not a Mr. Trump supporter, but this is what I'll say about Mr. Trump. That particular philosophy, you can argue whether it was right or whether it was wrong or all the other things, but to a certain degree it worked.
It worked.
Well, it's not a good way
Because
to work.
now, as soon as Biden gets in, what happens? We've got the caravans again. We got people.
But that's not all that is not because of Biden though. That's happening because of the states down south. Now, the reason that doesn't work is because guess who does that same tactic? The local law enforcement. Most of the time they try to coerce you into cooperating in terms of like threat or make you scared. If you don't let me search your car right now, I'll make you wait here 3 hours and I'll get a canine cop out here to sniff your car out. So you can either let me do it now or you can let me do it later. So it's all just, you don't want to have people cooperate through fear. You want them to cooperate because they want to cooperate.
Well, I think what the fear did for most is kept them away.
Probably.
With Trump up there, it was kind of like, oh shoot, if I come over
with you
here
on that, James.
If I come over there, man, they're not playing, and it's gonna be some problems. So it's like, you know, we're not gonna try it. But when Biden get up there, it's like, oh, okay, well shoot, there's a soft spot again. Let's give it a shot. So
People don't attack your strong points. They always go for the weak points.
right.
Either way, I think they should be allowed in the country regardless.
450.
Well, that's what I think they should do with what they've gone through.
But
I think they should be given. I really think they should be given citizenship.
That's the thing is, I feel like they don't want people to come in, so they make it hard, the process hard.
Oh, absolutely.
So
I've been through that.
So I may have even said this on the show before, but the money that they're talking about giving, and even people that are trying to get in, we should build, rather than building this wall, build compounds right there along wherever these fools are.
Hey, like compounds where 94% of them don't have
Yes.
windows.
Where they can live and they can work and take the money that you're going to be doing and say, look, while we're processing your application, this is where you're going to stay.
Yeah.
And you're going to pay into our system. You're going to pay into the government. You're going to take taxes out, all of that stuff, because they're human beings, man. I mean, I'm not just going to walk beside somebody just on the road starving or whatever. They really need help. But rather than giving them 450 grand, take that money and build something.
And they're not coming here for the new iPhone.
Exactly.
Did I ever tell you the story about, when I was selling all the foreclosures? One of my agents came to me and said, I've got this guy and he wants to buy a house. And it was a house, I don't know, in Pasadena or something. I can't remember where it was. And he said, but I've got a problem because, when you make an offer for these homes, and when you make an offer for the home, you've got to have proof of funds. So to the agent that we had, I turned around to him and says, well, get him to get a cashier's check, get him to get whatever. I mean, just do it. He said, well, that's not the case. He's only got cash. So I said to the agent, well, where's he got the cash? He said, well, he just took me to his house. We've looked under the mattress and there was $40,000 worth of cash.
Don't trust the bank.
Hey, me neither. But I want to put it on.
But basically, I mean, whether it's legal or otherwise, you can still buy a house if you've got the cash. And ended up buying a house for $40,000 cash. But we had to, help him through that a little bit. But he actually ended up going out there and getting a money order, but that caused all other sorts of problems. So don't put your money under a mattress.
Yeah, put it in a cold storage wallet.
There you go. Nobody knows you.